Hey guys, it's Adam from GottaBeMobile.com, and I am here with the Motorola Droid X2, which is Verizon's latest 3G smartphone. It is the successor to the original Motorola Droid X, which was released back in July of 2010. And before I get to all the new stuff, I'd like to point out that the Motorola Droid X2 is not available in any physical retail locations right now. In fact, it is only available through Verizon's web store. And it will be that way until May 26th, which happens to be this Thursday, and at that point you'll be able to get it in stores and at Wirefly and most likely Amazon. Verizon is going to be offering the Motorola Droid X2 for $199 on a new 2-year contract, while Wirefly and I think Amazon will be offering it for $150 on a new 2-year contract. So if you want to save $50, you probably don't want to get it through Verizon. Just my 2 cents anyway. So the Motorola Droid X2 is essentially an upgraded version of the original Droid X. It has the same form factor with 2 minor differences, but it also has some at least 2 major upgrades in the hardware department that are pretty awesome. So before I touch on those, let's take a look at the form factor. Very well built, exactly the same as the original. Like I said, 2 major differences, and those are the lack of the physical camera button, which used to reside on the side here. A little bit of a disappointment, but not a deal breaker. And the other thing is that it's a black finish now instead of a light gray. The original Droid X had kind of a light gray finish, and this is black. So those are the 2 major differences. Otherwise, this is the exact same phone. It's pretty awesome. Verizon's just essentially imported the old version. So we'll take a look at the form factor a little bit. Speaker up here. If you're familiar with the old Droid X, you might want to just fast forward. 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, power button. We got some raised nav keys here. Home, search. Well acquainted with that. We got the micro USB port, HDMI port. Now the HDMI port is compatible with the Droid X2's mirror mode, which allows you to play 1080p content on your TV. It's pretty neat. And on the back here we got the Droid X2 branding, and then we got the 8 megapixel dual LED flash supported camera. Unfortunately, the Droid X2's camera is only capable of shooting 720p video, and it can't shoot 1080p video, which is a little bit of a disappointment considering there's a couple smartphones on the market right now that are able to do so. And then you got the volume rocker on the side here. As far as the big major hardware changes, the Droid X2 employs a QHD display, which is 960 by 540 pixels resolution. Really nice, really crisp, bright colors. It's very awesome and one of my favorite aspects of the device. It also sports a 1 gigahertz Tegra 2 dual-core processor, which makes things extremely snappy. Haven't had much slowdown yet, and it's been very awesome. Runs Android really well, and it also handles Moto Blur really well. As you might know, the Droid X2 does not come with Android 2.3 Gingerbread out of the box. Instead, it uses Android 2.2.2 Froyo. Motorola and Verizon have both said that they will be bringing Gingerbread to the Droid X2 soon after its release, whatever that means. So, as I said, it runs Moto Blur, and quite honestly, it's not a bad version of Moto Blur. There's actually some nice stuff that Motorola's added here, and I'm going to touch on a few of those real quick. The first thing is this static nav bar down here that has your apps, your texts, your camera, and contact. It's nice little 4 shortcuts, and they stay static while you scroll through your 7 home screens. It's pretty neat, and it's pretty useful. Another thing Motorola's done is if you go to your app screen, and where all your apps are, you can go here, and they've added a little thing that sorts all your apps by recently downloaded and by the ones you've recently used. It's really useful. It doesn't seem like much, but it comes in handy when you have a lot of widgets going on. Another thing that's also useful for widgets, if you on the home screen and you tap the home screen, you get this little menu that pops up that has shows your 7 different home screens. You can easily just go to each of them. Now, I don't have a lot of widgets on here, but I'm assuming that most of you might end up having a lot of widgets on your phone, so it comes in handy when you're trying to navigate through your device. Another feature I really liked with the new Moto Blur is the addition of a new gallery feature. And what the gallery feature does is it kind of gives you a carousel look at your photos, and it also makes it easy to share your galleries and your pictures across social networks with friends. So it's a really nice touch, and just another kind of sign that Motorola has done some good things with Moto Blur here with the Droid X2. It's really a big step up from the last version. So it kind of still gets in your way a little bit. But it's not as laggy. I haven't really experienced that much lag, and the Tegra 2 processor is able to handle it no problem. Whereas with the last Droid X, I had some problems with Moto Blur, and it would just lag and be clunky and whatnot. So big step up. Not as good as HTC. It's still not as good as HTC Sense, but it's getting there. It's pretty good. It's not a bad experience. So that's that. I should point out that the Droid X2 is a 3G phone and not a 4G LTE supported phone, and that's pretty much the major drawback of the device. Otherwise, it's a really fantastic phone. So if you can look past the lack of the 4G LTE compatibility, then this is definitely a smartphone to look at. It's up there easily with the top 3G smartphones on the market, if not the best 3G smartphone on the market. And for the price, it's pretty unbeatable. Dual core processor, QHD display, $150 at some places. So look out for it this Thursday, May 26th, and you can either get it from Verizon or a multitude of retailers. And this is the Motorola Droid X2, and I am Adam from Gotta Be Mobile.